Damn, street niggas, we ain't really comfortable with all of that damn. What you trying to say?
Do what you do, baby.
I want congrats. I seen to come up through the mud. You feel me? Yeah, I'm saying, like I said, I used to be top. I'm one of the ones. When that nigga said he had a phone, his whole joke, man, I'm looking at the screen like preach, cause I was on the phone with him. You feel me? So you know what I'm saying?
My bad, y'all. Let's beat that at the general. 2Nola the podcast. You keep your body clean, man. Yeah. We shout, y'all. We shout. You heard me? I hope everybody having a very 2Nola day so far, and I hope everybody has had a very 2Nola day so far. You know what I'm saying? I got my people in here. We kicking off Women's Week 9. But first of all, let me introduce y'all to the art. You know what I'm saying? Women's Week art. This right here, my daughter is my daughter's first painting that she gave me. You know what I'm saying? This one, I'm sure a lot of y'all know who this is. It's the painting that I posted. A lot of y'all said y'all liked it. You know what I'm saying? And of course, you heard me. We got my my artist. You know what I'm saying? Elvin Venable. You heard me with the Women's Week 9 art of the week. You know what I'm saying? But we got my girl in here. You heard me. She from Crown Heights. You heard me. She's a dancer. She's a singer. She's an actress, and she's a comedian. And shout out the sponsors. You heard me. Bundle Gang. You know what I'm saying? The Bundle Gang. You heard me. We will be interviewing them Wednesday. You heard me. But without no further ado, you heard me.
Hey guys.
Yo, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for providing this platform for me.
Now, I appreciate you for accepting my offer, you know what I'm saying? So you want to get straight into the interview, or you want to shout your people out first?
We could get straight into the interview.
All right, so before we get any further, I want to hold a moment of silence for Miss Sonya Massey and for your mother, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. And for my brother.
Yes, ma'am. All right, you ready to get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right, so can you formally introduce yourself, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is LATISHA Johnson, a.k.a. Lala.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And you from Crown Heights, right?
Yes, I'm from Crown Heights, Brooklyn. I'm from St. Mark's, between Nostrand and New York. Shout out to Brooklyn.
Now you know I'm from New Orleans, you know what I'm saying? Can you and you said when I spoke with you, you said something about the 4 or 5 boroughs.
Yes. So I was explaining to
us
you.
in New Orleans what are the boroughs and what exactly are the 5? Is it 5 of them?
It is.
Alright, can you explain to us what that is down here? Because we don't know no better, you hear me?
All right, to all my New Orleans folks. So, as you know, I'm from New York City, and part of being from New York City, we have 5 different boroughs. So, we have Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, and Staten Island.
Yes, and you from Brooklyn.
I'm from Brooklyn.
All right. So, won't you tell us in New Orleans, in the surrounding areas, you heard me, how is it coming up in Brooklyn, New York? You know what I'm saying? Is it quiet? Is it violent? Y'all living like that? You know what I'm saying? Is it a cool place to come up and raise your kids in? From your experience, you heard me, how is it growing up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn? You heard me?
From my experience, growing up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, there was a lot of love. You know, if whether you was on your block or the next block, if an adult saw you and they saw you was doing something that you wasn't supposed to be doing, they take you to your mama or whoever was your legal guardian, and they'll say, this is what your child is doing, and you need to open up your eyes. So I wouldn't say it was a dangerous place. It was more community based. Of course, you had to know how to, you know, throw a punch,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's anywhere.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, what's the difference? You say was and it was right. What's the difference now? How is it now? You know what I mean?
Oh, now it's so gentrified. You wouldn't even recognize it from growing up there when you were younger. Now they have so many different like little bistros. A lot of the bodegas, corner stores are gone. It's more catered to a different community. You know, it's for all types really. As it used to be like about African Americans, the Caribbeans,
Black people.
black people, but now it's more so
This.
everybody. Yes.
It ain't so much of this as this. It's all good. It's all
I
good.
love everybody, all colors.
We all love. Shout out to all the women of all colors. You know what I'm saying? We representing all y'all for Women's Week 9. You know what I'm saying? So you lost your mother due to an overdose at an early age. You know what I'm saying? When you were 4, right? Can you kind of walk us through that time and if you could remember what was your mind frame and what was going on around that time? You were so young, losing your mother. You heard me?
Yeah, so I lost my mother at an early age, and I went from living in the Bronx when I was a baby with her to my world just being turned upside down. Of course, my mother was an addict. Um, Back in the '80s, when the word HIV and AIDS first transpired and came out, no one knew what it was. But my mother did, in fact, have HIV due to sharing needles with her best friend. They were both girls, you know, experiencing, trying new things. And unfortunately, they both lost their lives.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You know what I'm saying? So that loss, right? If you can remember, right? How did that affect your life directly, losing your mother at such a young age?
It affected us because we were split up as brothers and sisters.
When you say
Um,
we, you say your brothers and sisters. How many of it is you and how many others?
there was my older brother. I have two older brothers and one sister. So there's a total. There was. I keep saying was because I lost my brother in 2019. He
Yes.
has suffered from mental illness. So it changed our lives. We went to go live with my mother's sister, who I'm forever grateful for because we could have easily been in foster care. But she took us in, opened her home up, and raised me and my late brother and sisters. And it changed our lives because my aunt was a Jehovah's Witness. So we couldn't celebrate any holidays as to where when my mother was alive, we celebrated every holiday.
Thanks. So I was gonna ask you, what was the biggest transition from moms to TD that you went through, and that's the Jehovah Witness religion, right?
Yes.
So my TD is a Jehovah Witness, so I kind of knew that they don't do nothing, man. I mean, god damn, dog. They don't do nothing, dog. So you know what I'm saying? From you being such a young child, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure your mom threw you birthday parties. I'm sure y'all laughed and danced, probably listened to a little rap music, hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I already knew. You heard me. So, uh, when you went, you had to go under that religion also, right?
Yes.
How did that change you? If you could remember, I know it was so long, but what was the biggest change going from, I guess, a regular child to now you're a Jehovah's Witness child?
The biggest change was not having my mother. Um, Going from one borough to the next borough, um, being a part of this intense religion where, it was almost like you're isolated uh, uh, from the people on the outside, and it's only you and this whole group of people.
Sound like a cult.
It definitely sounds like a cult.
So you went from regular child, so no birthdays, no holidays. Did you get right into that? Did it affect you? Did it take you some time to get used to it? At 4 or 5 years old, right? What were you thinking, if you could remember?
I don't even know if I can remember what I was thinking. I do know for my older brother and sister, they wanted to make sure that we remembered our mother, so it was constantly installed in us, because I forgot, being so young, you forget those memories after a while, you know. But I thank God for my siblings and my aunt who raised me and my brothers and sisters.
Now you knew your dad, right? You know what I'm saying? But he was also in the streets, you know what I'm saying? So did you see any of your father at this time or none of him, or was he in and out? How was your relationship with your father at this time?
Well, the relationship between me and my dad at this time, it was no relationship. Um, we moved. He didn't know where I was. My family kept that away from him. So I didn't see my dad until I was 12.
So from 5 to 12, you had no contact with your dad.
No.
Was that regular life for you, or did that affect you in any way? Or that was like, okay, I know my dad, but he not here, but I know he there, so it's kind of all right. How did that take upon you as being so young?
Well, it definitely left trauma. It left trauma, childhood trauma, where because my dad wasn't there, I'm now looking for, affection from outsiders. It easily can happen, and it did happen to me. Um, so that probably was the biggest part. At that time, I did not know who my dad was. My sister and brother were the ones to guide me to get that information that I was yearning for at such a young age.
Okay, so you found him at 12.
Yes,
Did you meet up with him?
I did.
And what was that like? If you want to talk about that.
Oh, what was it like? It was scary, to be honest, because you don't know if this person, you don't have your mother here to be like, this is your dad, sort of thing. So it was just me hoping and praying that, I would find my dad. And once I found my dad, in my mind as a little girl, I thought like, we were gonna sail off and, have this happy life where I would have siblings, other siblings. But the life you envision, of course, it doesn't always turn out that way.
Facts, facts, facts. You know what I'm saying? So, mom dies. Dad, you don't really know him or know of him at this point. You know what I'm saying? Schooling. What type of effect did this take on your schooling, if any, do you remember?
It definitely made me angry, especially to be around my friends and to see them have their mother or their father. So I was always searching for that and just kind of questioning God, asking Him, why did I have to lose my mother at such a young age? You know, it didn't seem fair to me.
Facts, facts. You know what I'm saying? So you say you was an angry child. You know what I'm saying? Back then, did you lash out? Did you act out? Did you hold all that anger in? Did you have somebody to talk to? How did you express this anger if you did? You know what I'm saying? If you could.
I feel back in those times, I expressed my anger by surrounding myself with people who genuinely loved me and cared about me. So I was always looking for the outside instead
And,
of being able to come home and express how I'm feeling inside.
and did you know this at the time, or did you come to realize this later on in life?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Did you know all of this at the time at such a young age, or did you have to grow, mature, and come to realize this later on in your journey? You heard me?
Definitely later on in my journey, I had to, kind of like heal my own wounds.
Mm. So you spoke on being alienated, kind of alienated, you know what I'm saying? Did that affect your people skills, you know what I'm saying? Did that make you more outgoing? Did that make you nervous around people, you know what I'm saying? How did that affect your, I would guess, social skills, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think it affected my social skills because I've always been a sociable person. I've always been had a lot of friends growing up. It might have not been all the right friends, but I definitely have. I'm a. I'm not an introvert. I'm an extrovert, so I can go in any room full of
Hold up,
people.
wait. See, I don't know. I don't know about. Oh, drop the blunt. Hold up. I don't know about all that, right? And I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert." I don't know what they. What, babe, what you? I don't know. Could you explain to me what that is? You heard me, an introvert and an extrovert.
So, a extrovert is somebody that they can go out in the crowd and they're sociable, they're likable. Um, they don't, kind of like go into hermit mode, like be by themselves. And an introvert doesn't really like to go out and be with all the people and stuff. They rather stay inside, be by themselves. Me, I like to go out.
I think I'm an introvert.
Okay.
I think I'm in the mood. You know what I'm saying? So, you started dancing around this time. You know what I'm saying? And was that briefly to take you away from the problems you was having? Were you just influenced by the dancing? You heard me? Or was that just something that all the kids in the community was doing? You know what I'm saying? How did you get into the dancing? You heard me?
I got into the dancing. Really, my dancing took off once I got to high school. But before I was in high school, I was a part of African dance. I did drumming. I also did what do they used to call it back in the days? Pan, steel pan is what the Caribbean people call it. If you ever saw like West Indian Carnival or something to that nature, you would see them with the steel pans. So I
Like
learned how to
push
do that.
pants?
Yes.
That's some ghetto ass shit.
Yep, it sure is.
So all right, so you play instruments too, right? So you played the pan, you played the drums, you played any other
Yes.
instrument?
No, that was it.
Okay, and so was you did you just gravitate to the dance, you know what I'm saying? Was that did you gravitate because the other children in the community was doing it, or did you find dance as an escape from your regular life? You heard me?
For me, dancing was an escape from my reality of not having a mom, not having an active dad. Um, Dancing is very healing.
Mm. What is it about dancing that made you turn to it in your time of need when you needed to turn to something? You heard me?
I don't know. I just found my niche. I love to dance. I like being. in the middle of the dance floor and everybody's cheering me on, I get excited.
But hold up. So all of this sounds fun, right? Ha ha he, right? But Jehovah Witnesses ain't really known for having fun, you know what I'm saying? So
No.
that how did you like how that went, you know what I'm saying? Like did you hide the fact you was dancing, you heard it, or did your family accept the fact that you was dancing, you know what I'm saying? Because it was African and it's from the ancestors. How did that go in the household, you heard me?
Well, barely nothing was accepted in the household,
Not
especially if
even
it had to do
African
with the
music?
outside.
Not even African music?
Kiss FM, R&B, no curse words,
Okay, okay. So you
no
did.
state, no demonic, no like scary movies, nothing like within that content.
Same
But
for me. Same for me. Like when I was coming up, we wasn't allowed to watch Ricky Lake. Remember Ricky Lake?
I
It
remember
was
Ricky Lake.
wasn't allowed to watch Ricky Lake. I had went brought Master P tape, ghetto dope. My mama took it. She took it. You know what I'm saying? So my mama was kind of strict too. It wasn't on no Jehovah Witness strict. You heard me? But we had the same kind of rules. You know what I'm saying? So was you kind of like? And you said you was angry. You know what I'm saying? Was you kind of rebellious? Did you like kind of like
Oh
live?
yeah.
Oh yeah, like fuck all that, right? I'm about to, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I definitely had my time where I was like, I'm tired of going to the Kingdom Hall. We got to go Sunday. We got to go Monday. And we back on Thursday and Friday. And then sometimes you have to knock on those doors, and then you might knock on somebody you went to school with door. And then it's like, oh, you a Jehovah Witness. And I remember growing up, I never forget this one, but it kind of stick with me because one day, one of the boys that I grew up with on St. Mark's, he was like, Dag, y'all graduating again? And that just took me out. I
Kids
couldn't
could
do
be
nothing but
mean,
laugh.
right? Kids could be mean, huh?
Yes, they can.
It's all good. So, you know what I'm saying? You got the music, you got the dance, you know what I'm saying? But it's not really allowed in the house, so I guess you kinda had to keep it like bottled in, like inside, you know what I'm saying? So you such a vibrant would you say outrovert?
Yes,
You're an outrovert
extrovert.
person, but you
Extra.
gotta what it is?
Like an extrovert, meaning I'm extra.
Yeah, extrovert. You know what I'm saying? My
Yes.
bad. I'm learning it. Yeah. Blame New Orleans public schools. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's the government fault. But you know what I'm saying? You're such an outgoing, vibrant person. You know what I'm saying? But you had to keep all of that bottled in. Did that play on your mental? You know what I'm saying? On your self confidence or your personality? Like how did that play on your mental at such a young age, having to live a double life? You heard me?
At such a young age, that definitely affected me mentally. Um, because I wasn't a bad kid. I just wanted to do activities. I wanted to be on dance. I wanted to run track. I wanted to be in the choir.
I
I
don't
wanted to
know,
do.
because you started off saying you got to know how to punch somebody in the face. So I just, I kind of figured you was living like that. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no. I listen. Your girl is what 4'11". I suffer with that short syndrome. Like
I'm
people.
5'6". You heard me? And for a man, I'm small too. You know what I'm saying? So I think we suffer with the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So and then being from Brooklyn, you got to be a little rough. And I went to school across the street from the projects.
You heard
So
me? I mean, you know, it's in our blood. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? So,
it's
you
all
know.
good.
So by getting into dance and music, right? How exactly did that help you escape from your life? You know what I'm saying?
Well, dancing saved my life. And when I say that is because I could have easily stayed on that fighting path. But dancing really saved my life. I used to work in Queens, at for Goodwill Industries. It was like a daycare, like a camp where kids went during the summer, and they hired me as a dance teacher. So I taught dance to kids ages 5 to 12. But it was there that I met a woman that changed my life, Miss Sarita, who they call Booby. She was from Queensbridge, and she had a whole crew
You say
called
booby?
Queen's Finest. Booby, yes.
Shout out booby. Wish out with your booby. You know what I'm saying? If you see
Yes.
this, shout out to you.
Shout
So
out to Booby for real.
what part
Because
did
if it
booby?
wasn't for her and her seeing that I had this talent and her taking me under her wing, man,
So
I
let me
would
ask
have.
you something. You say you started teaching the dance, right? Was this all off of natural raw talent? You know what I'm saying? Did you go to school?
Yes.
All off natural raw talent. You know what I'm saying? So what
Yes.
exactly? Big ups to Booby. You know what I'm saying? What is it that you think that she saw in you to take such an interest in you? You heard me?
Well, she saw that I could dance, but she saw that it was a passion. Her and her husband, they both were like, "You guys need to be dancing like her," you know, because it didn't matter to me. I could be at a performance and there could be two people in the audience, and I will dance my hardest. But some kids won't do that because they feel like, oh, it's only two people. I'm not gonna dance my hardest. But me, I will put on a show.
For the love.
Yes.
You still got that same love for the dance now that you started off with?
I still have that same love for the dance.
That's what I'm talking about. Don't let that love go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So when you started this, right? First, you ain't knew you knew how to carry a tune. You found out you knew how to carry a tune. How does one exactly find out they knew how to sing in high school?
In high school, well,
That's
I
when you
joined the
found out you knew
choir.
how to. That's when you found out you knew how to sing, huh?
Yeah, when I was in the choir, and then my friend said, "Of course you could sing. Ghetto girls could do everything."
Shout out to your friend. So you mention your friends all the time. You know what I'm saying? Won't you
Shout
talk
out to
about
Prospect Heights Step Team.
shout out?
Shout
You
out
know
to
what
the
I'm saying?
Step Team because the Step Team really embraced me. They really did. Shout out to Miss Garcia, who was the head of Prospect Heights Step Team. Shout out to all y'all girls.
Shout out, you know what I'm saying? So you ain't know how to sing like a lot of people sing in the mirror, a lot of people sing in the shower. You never tried to sing before high school?
Oh yeah, I definitely sung inside the Kingdom Hall. And people would tell my aunt like, "Oh, your niece has a beautiful voice," and she wouldn't, it would go in one ear and out the other. But she was
Chill out,
more.
we Jehovah Witness. Chill out.
They would go in one ear and out the other, and I guess finally she saw that LATISHA is talented, and that's all she wants to do is be on these teams and do great things with my life. And thank God for Booby because I performed everywhere with her. We performed at Madison Square Garden. And if you from New York, you know Madison Square Garden is huge.
Mm.
And that
Ain't
was
like the
at
Superdome, but
17.
it's alright. Ain't the Superdome, but it's alright. You know what I'm
It
saying?
ain't the Superdome, but for us New Yorkers, listen, we got Madison Square Garden, we got the Barclays Center.
And
Like,
what park were you just was we were supposed to do the interview where you was at the historic Central Park with the
I
Central
was
Park.
in Central Park, yes.
Yes ma'am. So what other places, I guess, like take me through a normal day in New York. Like if I came to New York, I don't get on planes, you hear me? So I probably don't never get by y'all. But if I was to walk to New York, right,
You
what
could
would
take the
I
bus.
man, that's like 8 days, man. I ain't got it, man.
Hey,
That's like 30 days. That's a 30 days. I might well. That's what I'm saying. Like I failed the drug test or something. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take a bath. Yeah, I'm bougie. I'm ghetto bougie. I can't. I don't do that. I can't be on the bus all funky and all that. Nah, people gonna be talking about me and all that. You know what I'm saying? So if I come to New York, if I walk to New York, you know what I'm saying? What would I do and where would I go on an average day in New York? You heard me?
If you came to New York, you would get off on either 34th Penn Station or 42nd in Times Square. If you go to Times Square, baby, you're not going to make it to your hotel because
That
it's
sounds
lit.
like Bourbon Street.
It's lit, yes.
All right, so we known for like beignets, king cake, red beans. I'm saying jambalaya. What? If I come to New York, you know what I'm saying? What y'all known for? What dish y'all known
We known for every dish. You know what I'm saying? It's not that we can't cook, but we known for in Harlem. We got the Sylvia's. We got the Jacobs restaurant. We got so many.
Nah. I'm saying I need to know. See, you cheating.
We
I need to
we
know.
known for chopped cheeses too. We known for chopped cheeses. You go to the
What's that?
bodega, get you a chopped cheese.
What's that?
Yeah, what's that? So a chopped cheese is basically ground beef chopped up with the cheese. Then they put the mayonnaise, lettuce, and tomatoes. They hook it up. Put the pickles, onions, however you want it. Then we also known for what they call smashies, where they smash the bread down and make it flat.
I got to give me one of them. You got to mail me one of them. You got to mail me one of them. You know what I'm saying? So, you heard me? A change happened when you got in the 10th grade, right? Can you take us through that?
Well, the change for me that definitely happened during the 10th grade was I started to experience depression. I had an incident where I became so saddened by the fact that I didn't have a mother and that my dad was basically in and out my life that, at that moment I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. Like that's how I felt. It was an emotion that I knew, you know, it's a wrong emotion. It's like the devil or Satan, you know.
With his
So
big
I
head.
Yes, absolutely. So I knew that I had to talk to somebody. Even if I couldn't talk to the person I live with, I had to express my feelings to somebody.
Mm.
And I know that it wasn't meant for that, but it was more like a seeking attention
The
from,
attention that you wasn't getting from moms and pops.
yes, yes.
And how did you go about getting that attention, if you could? You know what I'm saying? Because I had my mom and my daddy, like my dad, like they broke up. You know what I'm saying? But like I could still call them. You know what I'm saying? I could beg for money, like daddy, come. I need $30. You know what I'm saying? I need some shoes, right? So
Right, right, right.
I can't, you imagine that, right? But from somebody who kept all that in from 4 or 5 to the 10th grade, that's like 12 years. You heard me? That's good. You know what I'm saying? So when it finally did come out, because like back in the Jeep, you heard me? Because I'm 39. You know what I'm saying? Back in the Jeep, we ain't use words like mental health illness or depression. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to my white fathers, but that was some white people shit. You know what I'm saying? So when I got to
Facts,
keep it
facts.
real. I got to keep it real. You know what I'm saying? So you use the word like depressed and all that. But back I know you know that now. But back in the G when you was going through it, did you know you was depressed? You understand me? Did you know that those thoughts were suicidal thoughts? You know what I'm saying? Did you know what was happening to you when it was happening to you? You heard me?
Yes, I definitely knew it was happening to me because it was kind of installed in me and my brother growing up that mental health illness ran in our family.
Mm.
So at an early age, it was installed in my brain to where I knew, okay, well, stay away from drugs, and kind of keep your mental health in order. It
So
wasn't spoken about like how it is today,
because
but
it
I
was some white
did
people shit.
know.
Yeah, it was good. Ain't nothing wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? You'll get over it. Oh, you being weak. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no, oh, come talk to me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no what's going on with you or nothing like that. So times have changed. But before you go on, right? You've been through so much, and we only to the 10th grade of your story. You know what I'm saying? So let's back it up. You know what I'm saying? You lost your mom at a young age. For people, for the young ladies, you know what I'm saying? Well, other young men, but this Women's Week, so we gonna go with the young ladies. You know what I'm saying? Who have been through, going through, or trying to get through the loss of a mother. You know what I'm saying? Could you give them some advice, you hear me?
Well, I always tell people cherish your memories because that's something that I don't remember, the memories, the good times, and hold on to that. It's gonna hurt. It's never gonna be like easy street. It's always gonna be in the back of your mind, that you grew up without a mother. But I will tell you this: do not let it affect you. Do not let it.
How? How you do that? Because it's easy. What they be saying. It's easier said than done, right?
It
You say
is
don't let it affect you, right? How don't give them some advice. How do you not let it affect you?
talk by speaking, not letting it bottle up inside to where, because we do that as people, as human beings. We put it all in, and then something happens that it triggers us, and then we explode, and we don't want that. So if I could give advice to any young woman or young ladies growing up or little girls that lost their mother, would be to hold on to your family, hold on to your loved ones, surround yourself with positive people, friends, even if you have to be around your friends and their mother. That's something I used to always be around my friends and their mothers. I would always tell them, like, don't say that to your mother. Don't treat your mother like that because I don't have a mother.
You know what? Your accent. I gotta call you Brooke Tisha. That's your new name. That's my name for you. I got to call you Brooke because you just Brooklyn up and my mother, and you know what I'm saying? Like you just Brooke. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna call you Brooke Tisha from now on. You know.
Okay.
So you talked about the advice that you give to them, right? Knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your younger self, knowing what you know now, going through what you was going through? What advice would you give your younger self?
The advice I would give myself, my younger self, would probably be not to feel like I have to buy friendships, um, and to probably not allow outside influences to affect me and my way of thinking, or not to turn on people who raised me for outsiders.
Mm. What has life taught you that you would give yourself that advice?
Can you repeat that? You said, what has life taught me?
That you said you would give yourself, your younger self, the advice that you just said, right? What about life that you went through that you would give yourself that young advice? What has life taught you that you would give yourself that advice?
Life has taught me thus far is to love myself, love all my flaws, um, definitely self-care, because I've always been like a natural giver, and so people can take advantage of you, you know.
Um, um, so you a little after that, right? You got into your first official relationship, right?
Yes.
Can you take us through that?
Yes. So we're still, with me being in high school and finding my passion and finding booby and dancing everywhere. Back in, I was around 17 at this time, back my senior year of high school. Just kind of met the wrong person, and it took me through an abusive relationship for from senior year to about adulthood, 6 years, 7 years down the line from high school.
And you have, hold on, it's the gas. Hold on. You have some advice for the younger ladies that might be going through that as well, right?
Yes, I do. I have some advice for any female that may be going through domestic violence. Definitely, you got to get out. You have to. Um, it's the scariest thing you will ever go through, because I was that girl that be like, it's not going to be me. It can't happen to me, but it did. And I'm thankful that I made it out because I was told that I would not live to see 21. But here I am standing.
Who told you that?
My abuser at the time, my children's dad.
It's a big hi to him, huh?
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
But you know what? You have to find forgiveness, for you. So I forgive, but I don't forget. But I do forgive.
Which brings us into our next question. You know what I'm saying? You said healing is not an easy thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Can you elaborate on your opinion of why healing isn't an easy thing to do?
Well, for me, healing isn't an easy thing to do because we don't heal. We move from one relationship to the next relationship, and we carry all of the trauma that we need to heal from before we actually enter a new relationship, and we don't. So now we're going into these new relationships with these wounds of hurt, of fear, anxiety. You
And
have
this
your
for men
guard
and
up.
women too. This for men and women too.
Absolutely. Men get abused. It's no longer a woman just being abused. There's females that have hand problems.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this goes for both men, women, you know, young boys growing up, young girls growing up, because it starts young, and it starts at home. And it starts at what these kids are seeing their parents do. And then when they get older, they think it's okay to hit a female, to belittle a female, to take from a female, to harm a female.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So recently, right? You lost your brother. You know what I'm saying? Due to mental illness. You hear me? We gonna take a moment of silence for him right quick. You hear me?
Yes.
Could you tell us how that affected you personally and career wise? Because I know you doing your music, you know what I'm saying? You're dancing, you teaching others how to dance, you know what I'm saying? Then you come to lose your brother, you already lost your mom, you know what I'm saying? How did that affect you mentally?
Oh, it was the biggest blow, the biggest stop of my life. You know how they say your world stops? My world stopped. Um, I started blaming myself, because if you have family members that have these illnesses, these sicknesses within them, it's hard to take care of a family member that may have mental health illness. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Somebody just called me.
You good?
Um, so where was I? My brother,
It's
him
kind of hard.
having
It's kind
my,
of hard to take care of somebody with mental illness.
it's extremely hard because you know they they're not the person who they were before the illness took over them. And for me, it was hard to see my brother going through mental health issues and, talking to himself, or, you know, hearing these voices in his head. And when he passed, I felt a lot of guilt mentally. I could have done more as a sibling.
How did you deal with that? You
I
say you
definitely,
felt.
I isolated myself from everyone, um, stayed home, and just, question God, which they say we shouldn't do. But we have already suffered from a young age. So I'm like, there's no way God's going to do this. He's not going to take my brother from me. We don't have a mother. But I find serenity in knowing where he is, because there were times where you don't know where they are, you know. And so I know that he's safe with God versus being out on the streets and, you know.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You have some advice for family members, friends of the family, friends of family members, friends of people with mental illness about how to better deal with them?
Never stop holding their hand. It's going to be hard and it's going to be tough, but you have to stay the course. That means taking them to the doctor, finding them a therapist. If they're on medication, finding the right medication. Because these doctors, they give these medications to calm you down, but sometimes it calms you all the way down to where you can't even keep a job anymore. So you have to stay the course. It's hard. It's going to be nights where you won't get sleep. It's going to be nights where you're going to cry because you don't know where your family member is. You don't know if they're safe. You don't know if somebody's trying to harm them. But don't give up. Don't give up.
Thanks. Thanks. So you've been through so much. What's next for you?
Well, what's next for Lala is to go after my passions. Start teaching dance again. I've been recently working on being a content creator, and I now have 14K followers. So that means I have 14,000 people looking up to me, and I want to inspire people. I want them to know that it's never too late to go after your dreams, no matter what you've been through, no matter who's not in your corner, family, friends, anybody. You have to go for your dreams and never give up.
Mm, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very inspiring story. You know what I'm saying? Before we get out of here, right? I want to thank you for coming. You know what I'm saying? You kicked Women's Week 9 off how it's supposed to be kicked off. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Leave everybody with your social medias, whatever you got coming up, your pages that you say you're a content creator. You know what I'm saying? Where they can follow you at. I know you said you had a YouTube page too. You know what I'm saying? This your
Yes,
time.
I have a YouTube that recently hit um 13, 13, 13,000 subscribers. Yeah. So shout out to all my YouTube people, and you guys can find me on Underrated Dancer, and you guys can also find me on Facebook at LATISHA Johnson. Check me out, check my dancing out, and happy Women's Week, and I'm kicking it off.
Yeah, and it's like that, you know what I'm saying? I want you to leave any inspiring words for the women before we get out of here, you hear me?
Inspiring words for the woman. Let's keep going. Get all of that hatred out your heart for the next sister that's trying to come up or may need to learn from you. Let's go full force and really support support each other. Let's go for it, ladies.
In your opinion, Brooke Tisha, you know what I'm saying? That's my nickname. How can women better empower women? How can women better uplift and empower women? I interviewed, this the 9th Women's Week, you know what I'm saying? So it's so many stories of jealousy, it's so many stories of competition, it's so many stories of, hate make you lose. I don't know, you see what I'm saying? But could you tell us how better women could better empower other women?
Simply by learning from each other. We need to learn from each other and get that hatred out of our heart. Stop competing with the next sister and learn from the next sister. Surround yourself with people who you want to be one day. Like, if I know I want to be a lawyer, guess what? I'm going to go around the courthouse and I'm going to start hanging out with people that are lawyers, people that are in law school, and I'm going to push them. So we need to push one another. Instead of judging, let's start pushing one another.
All right, now I'm gonna ask you something. How can men, us, you know what I'm saying, talk to us? You heard me? In your opinion, your opinion is welcome. Here ain't nobody gonna play with you. I'm stepping behind you. You know what I'm saying?
You heard me?
You heard me? I'm stepping behind you. You know what I'm saying? Talk to us. How can us? I'm not gonna say black men, but you know what I'm saying. We are what we are. We this. We you know what I'm saying. We this. So how can men better empower women, in your opinion? You heard me? Don't go too hard on us now. You heard me, Brooke Tisha? All the thing cut. She about to go in. All the screen cut off right quick. You heard me? She about to come with that smoke. You heard me? It's all good though. You know what I'm saying?
How can a man empower a female? By pushing them. You guys got to push each other, not judging a female because of their past. And for females too as well, don't judge a man off his past. Don't judge a man off of your past. You got to go into a relationship with an open heart and get to know each other first. Get to really know each other and know what ticks, know what buttons not to press.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You heard me? And again, you heard Miss LATISHA, you know what I'm saying? Straight from Crown Heights, you heard me? I appreciate you for coming on, you know what I'm saying? I love your vibe. You got amazing energy, you heard me? So one more time, you know what I'm saying? Any last words for him, you heard me, before we get up out of here?
My last words is definitely to give a shout out to my children, my man. They're all good men in this world. And mine came and saved my life and just took me and my children under his wing and said, you know what? That man may have done you wrong, but I won't.
It is still men out there, you know what I'm saying? And it's like that, you heard me? So we moving on, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate you for kicking off Women's Week like you did in such a royal fashion, you know what I'm saying? And we gonna keep it right rolling along, you know what I'm saying? But until then, it's P. the General, 2Nola the podcast. You keep your body clean, huh? Yeah. Thank you, Brooke Tisha. You heard me. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
From us damn street niggas, we ain't really comfortable with all of that damn shit. So what you trying to say?
Do what you do, baby.
I want to congratulate. I seen to come up through the mud. You feel me?
Real.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I used to be top. I'm one of the ones. When that nigga said he had a phone, his whole juice, man, I'm looking at the screen like preach. Cause I was on the phone with